2010. Let's rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Olson is excused. Councilor Bridge. Bender. Mertzick. Anderson. Hendry. Finsland is also excused. Herrick. McKenzie. Dahlbeck. Nowicki. Emmert. And Sather.
I'll call for the approval of the minutes. Motion by Councilor Dahlbeck, second by Councilor Bender. Any discussion, changes, alterations, spelling errors, quotation marks?
Stop that.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. We got the minutes through. We have a public hearing.
Item 5.1 is a public hearing for a resolution introduced by the Plan Commission vacating East 3rd Street between Hill Avenue and D Street between East 3rd and East 4th Streets.
This public hearing is now open. Anyone who would like to speak for or against item 5.1 on the agenda can do so now. For a second time, anyone who would like to speak for or against item 5.1 can do so now. And for a third and final time, anyone who would like to speak for or against 5.1 can do so now. At this time, this public hearing is now closed.
5.1 is a resolution introduced by the Plan Commission vacating East 3rd Street between Hill Avenue and D Street and East 3rd and East 4th Streets.
Motion by Mr. Bender, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none? Yep. Councilor Herrick.
Yeah, Jason, I just want to know, when you spoke to the neighbors, was there positive feedback in that?
Yes, as a requirement, the abutting property owners have to sign off, and I think there's just one on this one, and Dave is here, and you could probably nod your head. She was in agreement with not any issues. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 5.1 passes.
Item 6 is a consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Hendry, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Any items you'd like taken out? Mr. Herrick.
6.5.
6.5. Very good. Any other items? Seeing none, we'll ask for the approval of the balance of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Item 6.5.
Item 6.5 is the Police and Fire Commission minutes of January 13th, 2010.
I need a motion and a second. Motion by Councilor second by Councilor Henderson. Oh, excuse me. We have a motion to receive and file by Ed and a second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Esther. Okay. Discussion on the receive and file. Mr. Herrick.
Yeah, I just want the record to show that I was at that meeting. It's not noted on the roll call. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Nothing major. Just.
Good. That's it. That's one way of fixing it, I have to say. Very good. We have a motion by Councilor Anderson, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. No more discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 6.5 is corrected. Thank you.
Item 7.1, Assistant Public Works Director Getzman and Administrative Manager Dobby are recommending to award the bid to provide detailed design engineering services for pH control to Strand Associates, Inc. for $105,000.
Motion by Councilor Dahlbeck, second by Councilor Bender. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Herrick. I'm sorry, back up. Mr. Herrick.
Yeah, just a question on this one. That I just want you to just kind of inform the public, why we have to do this. Just basically so they kind of know. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, the city has a discharge permit for the wastewater treatment plant, and there's continual changes that have come around in the regulations, and beginning in November of 2011, our discharge permit again is going to require some additional work to affect the effluent pH that we have at our facility, and this is the design work necessary to keep that process moving so we can meet our next permitting cycle starting in 2011.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 7.1 passes.
7.2, Assistant Public Works Director Getzman is requesting authorization to purchase 2 Heel Rapid Rail automatic debris bodies from McQueen Equipment for $242,000, or let's start that over, $242,356.
You have that right now?
I think so.
Good. Motion by Councilor Dahlbeck. Second by Mr. Bender. I think they kind of wait for you, Mr. Bender. That's true. Mr. Anderson.
Well, I noticed and I read through the information provided, but I think we need to have an explanation why we're, $70-some thousand over the low bid in this particular one. It seems that if we're going to be putting these on truck bodies, it seems to me that $70,000 could probably buy 2 more truck bodies for the overage that we're having to pay for these compactors from McQueen Equipment. So perhaps you could explain why these particular ones are necessary, and if that's successful, obviously this will go through. But if these are so much more expensive, should we maybe not be looking at items that are less expensive to bid out? If they, are they worth it over their life? Or I know we have parts for the McQueen bodies, et cetera, but is it time to start changing to a new model? Good question.
Well, as you read in the memo that I sent to the council, the ones that we do operate now are these Heil Rapid Rail System debris bodies. And we did go out for bids, and we received 3. 2, of course, didn't meet the spec that the fleet manager put forward. And we did go back, and recognizing the $30,000 difference on each of those, we went back and asked the other 2 bidders to provide a demonstration model for us to try out. One refused the opportunity. The other one did bring us one. And we tried it in some of the tighter alleys, and the biggest problem that there was the radius of the swing arm. The ones we have now, when you're in a tight alley, go basically straight up along the side of the truck before they dump the container. The other one that we tried basically swung way out away from the truck before it put the can up on top. And with some of the tight spaces we have in alleys with garages and things built right up to the pavement, we didn't have room for that thing to operate. The other thing is that we bought to get a good price on the chassis last year, we bought 5, I believe, at one time and got a discount, and each of those is just under $100,000. And it would take another, the estimate was around $15,000 to $17,000 to modify those chassis for these debris bodies. So that starts eating away at the $30,000 change to make those modifications to get it to fit on the truck that we have. And then the fact that it didn't really fit in the alleyways and work the way we'd like as the other end of it.
And then just to assure taxpayers, then this money, it comes out of the enterprise fund at the landfill and is not subject to the levy?
Right.
Okay, so this is not being paid for by taxpayers. It's being paid for by the garbage from Duluth. Thank you, Duluth.
Thank you for your explanation. I think, are there any more questions on this item? Councilor Anderson raised some good issues. Are there any? Mr. McKenzie.
I think Jeff kind of answered my question. I was just curious why you bought the chassis separate from the bodies, and you answered that question. So, okay, it was cheaper to do it that way, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's cheaper. Not only cheaper, but it's basically the way it has to be done. The chassis manufacturers and providers don't generally come with these container bodies or other equipment. The dump bodies or anything else we add to a truck comes later from a different manufacturer. So.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you. Very, very good explanation. Thank you, Mr. Getzman. Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 7.2 passes.
Item 10.1 is a resolution approving the execution of development, grant, and lease agreements in connection with the Fraser Shipyard project.
Let's see, I'll pick, motion by Counselor Dow, second by Counselor Herrick. How's that? And then any discussion, Mr. Anderson?
Well, again, I read through all of these agreements, and which are quite lengthy, obviously. And I know I asked Mr. Cirque about this a little earlier, so he's prepared to provide an answer. But I noticed that in any of these agreements, we have language in there about prevailing wage and the prevailing wage ordinance and those kind of agreements. But there's nothing mentioned in there about project labor agreements. And so my question is, of course, why are they not mentioned in these particular documents at this stage? And perhaps Mr. Cirque could provide an explanation for that.
When we put these development agreements together, much like we just did with Gavilan Grain, we actually put that PLA language, which will be in this Fraser Shipyard, in the bidding document and then in the bid contract. I guess, we could start putting him in the development agreement. We just haven't, because we knew we would cover it and at the bid process, and to make sure people knew that it was there. So that's essentially what we're doing. And if councilors would like to see a section in there about in the development agreement, that's something that we could certainly consider.
Well, I just, it's I think it's been the will of the council by resolution that we are in favor of these sorts of things, and I know the local contractors that we work with all the time actually like them, because they know there's going to be no strike during the time of their project, and they're going to know what their labor costs are, and that it's actually a good thing. So I can't see any reason why we couldn't incorporate it in the documents relating to the resolutions approving these sorts of things. So maybe in the future we could think about that and incorporate it into the documents themselves.
Certainly, Counselor, we can
Can be done.
We can do that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 10.1 passes.
Item 11 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department, amending the traffic code, disabled do not block sidewalk by removing, did I skip one?
I think you missed one.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, where this was on here.
10.2, resolution introduced by Councilor Mertzick requesting the Common Council of the City of Superior support the legislation relating to regulating consumer small loans, payday loans, including an interest rate cap.
Motion by Mr. Mertzick, second by Councilor McKenzie. Discussion, Mr. Mertzick.
Yeah, I'd just like to say a couple of things here. For those people that aren't aware, Wisconsin right now is the only state in the union that doesn't regulate these loan shark businesses. I call them loan sharks because that's what I believe they are. And another interesting fact I'd like to point out is that lobbyists or loan shark representatives have paid over $600,000 to the state last year, which is just insane, really. And it kind of shows that maybe this is the reason that it's still not regulated in the state. And I'd also like to ask on the record, I know we've talked about this in the past, myself and Mr. Perrell, is there a way that we can be more restrictive than the state and actually develop or draft an ordinance to regulate these interest rates? I'd like to be a little more aggressive in figuring out ways at a municipal level. And I know, Mr. Mayor, you've done a lot with zoning efforts to move these businesses to the outskirts of town, although I just would really like to look into ways to be even a little more aggressive with what we're doing.
Before your membership on the council, we aggressively attended the University of Wisconsin Law School training for payday lending. We then, with cooperation with council, I think Ed Anderson was council president at the time, I believe, we aggressively looked at every single opportunity to regulate payday lending within the limits of the law, and we took every opportunity to do so. And so as of the laws read right now, and in conjunction with the Department of Financial Institutions, I don't know if you know, Mr. Mertzick, we have spent weeks on this issue developing policy for the City of Superior, and we have we believe at this point we've gone as far as we can under the law, and we have looked at every single one of these restrictions. And we took back a whole portfolio of restrictions that were applicable to local communities, and we adopted every one that was applied to this community. So if you're welcome to review several hundred pages of data that we've compiled and read it, and then you'll see that we have done, absolutely, this council has done the best job in the entire state addressing that issue.
That's good to hear. One other thing, then, I would like people to contact their state representatives and voice their concern on this. I know right now it's going through some debate, and there's the Speaker of the Assembly actually is against the rate caps, but in the current rate cap right now that they want is 36%, which in my mind is still criminal. I mean, it's still higher than most credit cards, I think. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Bender.
Yes, I just wanted to echo what Greg was saying as far as contacting their state legislators. I do know that Assemblyman Milroy and also Senator Jelk are both in on the ground floor on this, and they would very much like to see this rate cap put in place. And for anybody who doesn't know what their contact information is, you can find it online.
You can. Thank you very much. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 10.2 passes.
11.1, an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department amending the traffic code by removing 1111 Grand Avenue disabled do not block sidewalk.
Motion by Mr. Hendry, second by Mr. Bender. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 11.1 passes.
11.2, an ordinance introduced by City Councilor Dahlbeck amending Chapter 74, fireworks and 4th of July novelties.
Motion by Councilor Dahlbeck. Second by Councilor Anderson. Any discussion, Mr. Anderson? Thanks by the way, I want to thank you, Mr. Anderson, for tipping your light up.
Yeah, I know
Mr.
you probably
Emmert,
can't see
Mr.
it.
Emmert is blocking my view, but that's okay.
Hey, it's the 70s look, it brings me right back to high school, so thanks, I appreciate it, It makes me feel young.
We have made poor Mr. Emmert red as a beet right now.
It's all right, I've done that to his dad a few times over the years, too. So. I thought maybe the fire chief could explain a little bit about what has changed in the fireworks ordinance now with the adoption of this particular language as opposed to what we did have.
Well, the change in the language allows somebody to transport the fireworks where previously if a non-resident came into the state of Wisconsin to buy fireworks, that company had to ship them to him. And the state law change allows that person to actually transport them himself. And supposedly he's supposed to transport them back out of the state.
Is that sufficient?
Well, I guess so. I mean, I can remember, and this goes way back before anybody here, but it is dangerous to transport some of the fireworks. Mm-hmm. We had a tragic incident many years ago in the county where a carload of kids transporting a bunch of M80s blew up.
That was in the 60s, early 60s at the fairground.
Well, this was out in the county, and it was there were 2 or 3 kids that were killed. So I don't want anybody out there to think that transporting fireworks is really all that safe. And so this is not meant for huge amounts of fireworks. This is meant for the little bag you buy at the store, and right? We're not talking about unplacarded explosives being transported around. Yeah. Okay.
If I might say something about this ordinance overhaul, I want to be clear that the ordinance that's in front of you right now is an unambiguous prohibition of the possession or sale of fireworks in the city of Superior. It's contrary to state law to restrict transporting fireworks if that transportation is done in the spirit of moving them to into a jurisdiction where the possession or use is lawful. But the heart and soul of these changes is to address the possession and use and sale of fireworks, which is generally prohibited by state law. And I think that the changes that are before you now make that clearer than the article as written prior to tonight. I think those of you who served on the License and Fees Committee sort of saw the absurdity in being a potential island in a sea of fireworks prohibition, whereby we allowed, or contemplated in the books anyway, the lawful use or sale of fireworks, where not only is it unlawful to use them in Wisconsin without a permit, but in all of our neighboring states. So hopefully this makes that a little bit less of an anomaly.
Mr. Shirk, then Councilor Dahlbeck.
Frog, just one more thing. When you say fireworks, not novelties. So we've essentially left out what is legal to sell in Wisconsin and to possess in Wisconsin, which examples are black snakes, anything that stays on the ground more or less, correct?
Yeah, the novelties are still in place, and one can still possess them, sell them. We do have some merchants, I believe, that sell them at least seasonally. And I don't know the vernacular very well, but the snakes and the toys and the sparklers and the fountains, those would be the novelties that are not banned.
Black snakes, wow. Councilor Dahlbeck.
Well, I'd just like to say that I don't think the council is aware of that. The governor says they can sell these fireworks out of any city in the state of Wisconsin, although they're illegal for us to buy, but we can sell them to other states. And they're illegal in other states to buy, but yet we could have sold them. Yes, we could have sold them here in Superior and to Michigan or whatever, even though they're illegal to buy there. So that is the reason for this, too, is to keep them so we will not have these fireworks stores in our city. Thank you.
Appreciate the good work that you councilors did on that ordinance. Thank you. Seeing no more discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no, and motion to adjourn. Thank you.